Hello! So, a thing that's become really big and popular on the internet and video lately is fantasy booking professional wrestling angles. Mostly because that's what Adam Blumpkid from What Culture does, and he's fucking great at it. Seriously, check their channel out. It is awesome, even if you're not big into professional wrestling. Especially since it'll make this unnecessarily elaborate opening bit make sense. Anyway, since I am also a man who does videos on the internet and who also enjoys professional wrestling, many people have asked me if I ever wanted to try my hand at this sort of thing. And while that kind of sounds fun, I also know my limitations. I'm not an expert in professional wrestling, I'm a fan, but what I am an expert in is movies and the business of making movies. So I figured it might be interesting to try a movie-centric version of that same idea, where I take a troubled or stalled film franchise and speculate imaginatively on what I might do if I was placed in charge of fixing it, which I figure is only slightly more self-indulgent than what I do already. So yeah, let's give this a shot and see what you guys think. Starting off with an easy one, or at least what I'd consider to be an easy one, Batman, the current DC Extended Universe version of Batman, who thus far seems like a potentially interesting character stuck in a terrible, terrible franchise. Okay, so tempting as it may be to just cheat and say the first step would be throwing out the DC Extended Universe as a whole and starting over from scratch, that's not going to happen, and then this exercise would fully become fanfiction, and I'm not ready to hate myself that much. Besides, if left entirely to my own devices, I wouldn't make any Batman movie. What I'd make is a Robin origin movie where Batman is a supporting character, because Batman is Wolverine levels of overexposed at this point, and he's boring. So, if asked to decide the future of the DCEU Batman, my first edict would be to downplay the rest of the DCEU. Not ignore, not decouple, just don't bring it up if you don't absolutely need to, until such time as the rest of this mega franchise stops being a fucking garbage fire. Batman has a whole city, plenty of bad guys, a rich mythology of his own. There's no reason for Downer Man, Biker Mermaid, Sexy Cameo, Black Terminator, and not Grant Gustin to show up with all their bad movie baggage. They're out there, they're doing their own stuff, Batman is doing his. Second, we lose the brick shithouse look. If Batman is supposed to be this crazy acrobatic wall-climbing ninja, he shouldn't look like Brock Lesnar in between wellness policy suspensions. Tell Affleck to get back on the lean proteins, no more power armor. If it's really up to me, we go all the way back to the blue and gray with the yellow logo, but if people want to stick with the animated series color scheme, that's fine, not really the most important thing. Oh, also, no more built-in gear like in the Arkham games. Put the tools and weapons on proper utility belt, because Batman being a gadget guy is part of why Batman is fun. On that same token, Batmobile, no more fucking tumblers, no more tanks, enough of that shit. It's a car. He operates in a city, he's not Spider-Man, it makes sense he'd have just a car. So get a sick-ass real car, paint it black, put some Batman shit on it, now it's the Batmobile, and you can do chase scenes with awesome James Bond car weapons. And maybe it can, like, transform into a regular Bruce Wayne car for disguise, like in Viper, that'd be cool, right? Hell, it'd be a great promotional thing. Have Bugatti and Lamborghini and all the auto companies compete for who gets to be the official designer of the fucking Batmobile. I mean, Bruce Wayne would know what a nice car is, right? Speaking of which, that brings us to the most important thing I demand. My Bruce Wayne would be a Bruce Wayne who is handling his shit. He's not over his trauma, because trauma doesn't work like that, but he's dealing with it. He's working it out. He's coping through a really effective, if unorthodox, coping mechanism called being Batman. But otherwise, he's not always waking up in a cold sweat, not everything reminds him of his parents, and even when it does, he deals with it like a well-adjusted person. Mostly. This is really important to me, folks. See, it's not just that tormented, vengeful, sadist Batman is played out and boring as fuck 3 decades out from Dark Knight Returns, I just feel like it's also become a toxic thing for fandom and pop culture at large. The whole dead parents thing is supposed to be tragic. It's the downer note that adds texture by underscoring what on the surface sounds like the most awesome life possible, being a billionaire and a superhero. But it feels more and more like many modern adaptations of Batman would rather fetishize Bruce Wayne's grief as part of some bullshit philosophy about how we need damaged, brutal, savage men to protect the world with their rugged individualism and blah blah. Enough of that shit. The DCEU Batman is already an older dude, so it's reasonable that he's learned some life lessons and can get stable. He's come out the other side, he's seen some shit that'll give you a new perspective, he's made some friends, and this results in a Bruce Wayne who's a chill guy, a cool guy, a guy you want to be. He travels the world, he spends his own money on philanthropy, he attends banging parties, he throws banging parties, he dates smoking hot chicks. If your kid wants Superman's autograph, maybe he knows a guy in Metropolis. Incidentally, what is Ben Affleck best at playing? Sharp, seemingly with it guys who secretly have something else going on. Also, the Batman side of things, going pretty okay too. He's been doing this a while, a bunch of the recognizable bad guys are already stewing in Arkham, because isn't that a great location and cast of characters you can just have on hand? He doesn't obsessively patrol every night, he goes out when he has to, or when the bat signal goes off. Maybe there's even a Nightwing or a Batgirl out there to pick up the slack, because why not? whatnot, and Gotham City is, by now, pretty much okay with this, and accepts Batman as just a thing that happens. Yeah, I know Dawn of Justice was still doing the stupid Batman is Sasquatch thing, but who cares, that movie was trash, and if the DCEU does eventually start working, it'll be partly because subsequent films do their best to avoid talking about it. So we have a cool, fun Bruce Wayne, a Batman who kicks ass without always having to cry about it, and a stable enough status quo in Gotham City, which means the plot should logically concern something happening to disrupt that stability, something to throw this comfort out of whack, or at least threaten to bring it all down. You'd need a villain for that, obviously, but a villain who's different from your run-of-the-mill supercriminal, and preferably one we haven't seen in live action before. My pick, the Man-Bat. Why? Because I love the naming scheme, because a werewolf but for bats is a great creature concept, because by this point Batman will have met aliens and fish people, so all plausibility bets are off, and because it gives us a new plot template we haven't seen in a Batman movie before. This would be a monster movie, where the character who realizes there's a monster and has to figure out what's going on and stop it is also Batman. Now obviously there'd have to be some more to it than that. There needs to be a reason the Man-Bat shows up outside of we've never seen Batman fight a monster before. Maybe Hugo Strange creates it at the behest of some gangsters to tie Batman up with monster shit while they do a big heist. Maybe like a whole collection of the gangster-type Bat villains, like Black Mask, Penguin, or the Ventriloquist. Maybe the Royal Flush Gang show up. Or maybe it's just been done to fuck with Batman personally. After all, a giant monster bat shows up flying around and killing people in Gotham City. Who's the first guy who's gonna get blamed for that? More importantly, who's the first guy people are suddenly gonna stop trusting again? You see, the plot is just rationales and MacGuffins and details to be filled in. What's important is the story, and in this case, the story is Bruce Wayne confronting the existential question of whether or not Batman, and thus he himself, is some kind of monster in the form of a grotesque living caricature of his own man-into-bat persona. Couple that with some world-building character drama and a handful of inventive action set pieces, and it's basically one dude versus one monster, so it doesn't have to cost 200 million fucking bucks either, and that's a fucking Batman movie if you ask me. Oh, one more thing. Since even the bizarre folks among you who somehow managed to enjoy Suicide Squad didn't like Jared Leto, I'd use this opportunity to recast the Joker. Figure out an excuse for him to look different later. Nobody really cares about the how of that stuff anyway. Just make him one of the guards in Arkham, put him in one of those Hannibal Lecter masks, don't dwell on him, keep him part of the furniture, don't make a big deal of him, don't even put him in any of the trailers, and don't reveal who's playing him until we see his face for the first time, preferably near the end of this movie. And the actor I'd cast? Leonardo DiCaprio. I know, but think about it. Nicholson put Dick Tracy-style Joker to bed. No one's gonna do anarchist mass murder Joker better than Heath Ledger. Florida Joker didn't work. Maybe super intense, charismatic, oddly handsome Joker is worth a shot. Plus, I mean, did you see The Wolf of Wall Street? He played a maniacal, superhumanly driven sociopath who builds a criminal empire out of nothing on sheer hypnotic charisma. And it's the best performance he's given in a career of really fucking good performances.
My killers who will not take no for an answer. My fucking warriors who will not hang up the phone until their client either buys or fucking dies!
I honestly think he would kill at this part, and since he's expensive and busy, it would force Warner Brothers to not overuse the Joker. That's a win-win. So yeah, that's how I would fix the Batman movies. If you liked this little experiment and would like to see me do more of them, let me know down in the comments. Share the video around so that it's, popular and I know to do more of these. And, thank you for watching. Thanks to Adam and What Culture for inspiring this bit. See you guys on the next episode.